Hey guys, welcome to Education for You and welcome to another class of pedagogy. So pedagogy upon ami 500 MCQ 500 questioner series start কৰিছিলো আৰু যোৱাকালি আমি class 1 to দিছিলো তাতে 250 question discuss কৰিছো and these questions will be helpful for upcoming any kind of teaching exams. Okay, আৰু আজি বাকি 250 আমি ইয়াতে discuss কৰিম. So আশা কৰিছো এইখিনি আপোনালোক help কৰিব আৰু ইয়াত basic to high level বিভিন্ন questions include কৰা আছে okay so আজি 251 ৰ পৰা start কৰিম জুনে জুনে মিস কৰিছে ভিডিওটো চাই লব তাতে 250 questions আমি already discuss কৰিছো operant conditioning theory was given by so operant conditioning theory কোনে দিছে এটো হৈছে আপোনাৰ প্ৰশ্ন okay so operant conditioning theory দিছে আপোনাৰ স্কিনাৰে কোনে দিছে স্কিনাৰ bf স্কিনাৰে দিছে আপোনাৰ operant conditioning theory. Then next question to is the score in a given set of data that appears most frequently is called. So apunak eta data কিছুমান দিয়া আছে তাৰে যোনটো স্কোৰ সবচে বেছি টাইম উলাই তো আপোনালোকে জানে হেতু কি বুলি ধৰক আপুনি এটা আপুনি ডেটা লিখিছে আপোনাৰ ক্লাছৰ ষ্টুডেন্টৰ মাৰ্কস ধৰক তাতে 20 25 নম্বৰৰ পৰীক্ষা লৈছে আপোনাৰ 20 নম্বৰটো বেছিকৈ উলাই আছে so 20 নম্বৰটো হ'ব আপোনাৰ কি বুলি কয় যোনটো সবচে বেছি টাইম উলাই হেতু হৈছে মোড বহুলক বুলি কোৱা হয়তো অসমীয়াত মোড বুলি কোৱা হয় ইংৰাজী when training given to one part of human body gets transformed to other parts then it is called so এটা part human body এটা part of দিয়া training to যেটা আন এটা part লৈ transform হয় হেতু কি বুলি কোৱা হয় bilateral transfer. Then next question, the concept of mental age so mental age or যেটো concept এটো কোনে দিছে বাইনেট সাইমনে provide কৰিছে in learning Pavlov's conditioning theory he experimented on so Pavlove যেতিয়া conditioning theory উলাইছিলে তেওঁ কিহৰ ওপৰত experiment কৰিছিলে dog কুকুৰৰ ওপৰত experiment কৰিছিলে process of arousing sustaining and regulating activity is so is the process as arousing sustaining and regulating activity to কি বুলি কয় motivation বুলি কোৱা হয় way of minimizing forgetfulness is so forgetfulness যেতিয়া আমি minimize কৰিম মানে কেনেকৈ আমি স্মৃতি শক্তিটো ধৰি ৰাখিব পাৰো পাহাৰা যেটো মানে বেমাৰ লৰা ছোৱালী কলে স্বভাৱ হিটো কমাব পাৰো repetition of lesson বিলাক যেতিয়া আমি ৰিপিট কৰি বাৰে বাৰে পঢ়াম তেতিয়া হিয়তৰ forgetfulness টো কমি যায় anger and fear are type of emotion so খং আৰু ভয় বিলাক emotion হয় আবেগ হয় then next question is copying of the external behavior of another individual is so যিকোনো বেলেগ ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালক যেতিয়া কপি কৰা এটো কি বুলি কয় ইমিটেশন বুলি কোৱা হয় এটো জানে আপোনালোকে ইমিটেশন হ'ব এটো then consolidation theory is associated with consolidation theory memory হৈতে জড়িত memory power হৈতে জড়িত হয় Gestalt theory founder কোন হয় Gestalt psychology founder হৈছে Max Wertheimer so Gestalt psychology was founded by Max Wertheimer First laboratory of psychology was established by so psychology প্রথম laboratory কোনে establish কৰিছে W1Dant আসলে তাও নাম Kohlberg's theory of development is concerned with Kohlberg's যেটো theory of development কি হয় এটা concern হয় moral development এর হইতে concerned theory হয় then emotional tension resulting from blocking of a desire or need is called anxiety so আপোনাৰ যিকোনো এটা desire যেতিয়া থাকে যিকোনো বস্তুৰ প্ৰতি বা যিকোনো আপোনাৰ প্ৰয়োজনীয়তা যেতিয়া আপোনাৰ ফুলফিল নহয় তেতিয়া আমাৰ কি হয় টেনশন হয় আৰু এটোকে anxiety বুলি কোৱা হয় cognition is a part of which intelligence theory so cognition এটা কোনটো intelligence theory part হয় fluid and crystallized theory part হয় the concept of programmed learning was given by program learning or concept disile Skinner bhatia battery is used to measure bhatia battery ki hokane use kora hoy intelligence measure koribole use kora hoy field theory is the contribution of psychoanalysis okay psychoanalysis or the contribution of field theory failing to retain or to able to recall what has been acquired is called forgetting etu to jane mane memorize jetia koribo nwari bostu je monot pelabo na etu forgetting boli koa hoy then next question is the cephalocaudal principle development explains how development proceeds from head to toe pura head or pra toe loike jikhini development hoy amar physical development hetu principle to koa hoy cephalocaudal principle of development not important hoy then a child of class 10 scored 20% marks in annual examination, which is less than his abilities. It is an example of so নিজৰ ability কৈ যে কম mark পাব তেতিয়া এটো কি বুলি কয় underachievement বুলি কোৱা হয়. Vygotsky's socio-cultural theory suggests that a child's most important discoveries are guided by adults acting as tutors. So in children or most important discovery hetu mane guide kune gore teo goraki tutor thakibo teo guide kore. Non-verbal intelligence test can be used for all irrespective of test. Non-verbal intelligence test to kolore karone koribo pare kono age or kono ya problem na thake irrespective of age. It can be test to everyone. Traditional way of teaching grammar was opposed by Pune oppose korisile. Traditional way of teaching grammar Chomsky oppose korisile. According to Piaget, object permanence takes place during the period of sensory motor period. Object permanence jikono bostu mane memory permanently thaki jay etu sensory motor period hoy. This type of environment is suitable for emotional development of a children, and that is called accommodative environment. Is suitable for emotional development. Before starting teaching, there is a need to take up assessment for learning. So teaching korar agote learning koribor karone teolukok learn koribo pare na nai hote hetu bostu ami sabo lage. The Right to Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 is applicable to. So right to children to free and compulsory education jitu ase 2009 etu sobote accept hoy whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. Then the period of development during which the children is in the dilemma of being a child or an adult is called adolescence. To কৈশোৰ অৱস্থা মানে বাল্যকালৰ পৰা অকমান যৌৱন প্ৰাপ্ত হৈ পেলাই কৈশোৰ অৱস্থালৈ যেতিয়া যায় হেতু process যেটো period হেতু adolescence বুলি কয়. Self-paced learning is possible in programmed instruction. So instruction bila যেতিয়া একদম পুৰা systematically দিয়া হয় self learning কৰিব পাৰে. According to NCF 2005, teaching is for construction of knowledge. So NCF 2005 or mote knowledge construction korai hoise teaching শিক্ষকতা কৰা যেটো. Transmission from parents to offsprings is called heredity. So parentor pora jetia lora swali galoi jigun eta gun ahe etu hereditary gun buli koa hoy etu bongshogota. Images, concepts, symbols, signs, language, muscle activities and brain functions are involved in thinking process. So ebilak sob thinking process ot involve hoy. An appropriate form of assessing students performance in practicals is observation. So observation koribo dibo lage teolukok etu joriote assess koribo pari practical knowledge. The type of evaluation which is used to monitor learning progress during instruction is called formative assessment. So jetia mane apunar like short term jetia test loi thoka etu formative assessment ot pore. Monitor koribo kori thoka hoy je teoluke kiman kini parise hikibolai para nai kini. The first stage in the learning of a skill is imitation. So imitation to is a learning or first stage. Communication with students means exchange of ideas exchange kora hoise communication with students. Slow learners whose educational attainment falls below their natural abilities are labeled as backward. So backward বুলি কোৱা হয় বিলাক মানে slow learners আছে তেওঁলোকৰ কাৰণ educational যিখিনি progress এটো মানে natural abilities কৈ তলত থাকে কাৰণে. Self study habit can be developed in children by making new literature available. তো তেতিয়া তেওঁলোকে self study কৰিব পাৰিব. Special needs education is a type of education given to persons with disabilities. So jibilak শাৰীৰিক ভাৱে তেওঁলোক কি হয় বিশেষভাৱে সক্ষম ব্যক্তিসকলক দিয়া হয় special needs education. The personal factor that affects a child are maturation and age. So বয়স আৰু তেওঁলোকৰ যেটো পৰিপক্কতা এইবিলাক কিছুমান personal factor তেওঁলোকক কি কৰে affect কৰে. The storehouse of our unfulfilled desire are called IDE বুলি কোৱা হয়. Unfulfilled desire কিছুমানৰ যেটো storehouse হেতু কি বুলি কোৱা হয় IDE বুলি কোৱা হয়. In personality as well as intelligence, heredity plays a dash role. So personality development of heredity a nominal role play কৰে, not the মানে whole role গোটেখিনি নকৰে, nominal এটা just এটা nominal role এটা থাকে. Gestalt learning occurs through imitation. Imitationৰ জৰিয়তে gestalt psychology learning occur হয় বুলি কৈছে. Example of fine motor skill or palm grasping এটো হৈছে আপোনাৰ যেতিয়া motor skills like development use koribo paribo nijor fingers toes ebilak hetu fine motor skills or development exactly যেতিয়া কৰিব জনা হ'ব শিশু এটাই তেতিয়া হেতু rapid growth and development is observed in the developmental stage of infancy so যেতিয়া infancy stage of থাকে একদম বেবি অৱস্থাত তেতিয়া rapid growth দেখা যায় আৰু development দেখিবলৈ পোৱা যায় the main characteristic feature of an adolescent social development is identity so যেতিয়া লৰা ছোৱালী identify কৰিব পাৰিব so identity হৈছে মানে প্ৰথম the main characteristic social development সামাজিকভাৱে তেওঁ বিকাশ হোৱা বুলি কোৱা হয় which kind of evaluation is given during instruction so instruction er সময়ত কেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ evaluation কৰা হয় formative evaluation দিয়া হয় aggressiveness destructiveness disobedience non cooperation etc are characteristics of a behavioral disorder so behavioral disorder behave যেতিয়া কৰিব নাজানিব তেতিয়া বহুত বেছি aggressive হয় destructive হয় obedient নহয় আৰু কোনো ক্ষেত্ৰতে cooperate কৰিব নিবিচাৰে the rights of a person with disabilities act has been enacted in the year 2016 so disabilities act or under মানে right of persons with disabilities or এখন act 2016 ত এখন enact কৰা হৈছিলে that involves self awareness and control of cognitive abilities and that is known as metacognition so self awareness যেতিয়া থাকিব আৰু নিজৰ cognitive abilities মানসিক যিবিলাক কিছুমান ক্ষমতা আছে তাৰ ওপৰত control থাকিব awareness থাকিব হেতু metacognition বুলি কোৱা হয় IQ যিটো concept হেতু কোনে develop কৰিছে Stern develop কৰিছে developed by Stern to explain predict and control phenomena are the goals of এবিলাক হৈছে scientific method goal হয় explain kora predict kora aru control kora phenomena bilako Ranjuli is known for his dash definition of giftedness 3 circle definition of giftedness which type of assessment is used for identifying learning deficiencies learning deficiency identify koribor kane kuntu assessment kora hoy diagnostic learning deficiency learning kora jite deficiency thakibo problem thakibo to telok diagnose koribo lagibo diagnostic assessment koribo lagibo bhaldore hiatok hikabo lagibo bostu bilak porhabo lagibo so that is this type of assessment is necessary lecture method kuntu group of students or khetrot projojjo hoy lecture method apunar college hot biggest advantage of giving homework to the students develop the habit of self study so self study koribo pare disability which affects a children's handwriting ability and fine motor skills etu ki boli koa hoy so handwriting ability aru fine motor skills or jetia disable thake etu dysgraphia boli koa hoy social reasoning focuses on thoughts about social senses moral reasoning emphasize on ebilak morality boli koa hoy the way to acquire the necessary skills and competences may be include I need to personally skip desk is a device for helping teachers to specify how much test space to denote to various topics or it is a test blueprint is a device for helping teachers to specify how much test space to denote various topics so the বিভিন্ন topic কিমান খিনি আপোনাৰ টেষ্ট লব লাগিব হেতু কি হেৰে ডিভাইস কৰা হয় টেষ্ট ব্লুপ্ৰিন্টৰ জৰিয়তে the stage of cognitive development according to Piaget in which a child displays object performance permanent related sensory motor is বুলি কোৱা হয় তো object to permanently তেওঁলোকে চিনি মানে মাথাত ৰৈ যায় মগজুত মাইন্ডত ৰৈ যায় imagination a selected response question requires the students to recognize the correct answer so student যেতিয়া correct answer দিব পাৰিব তেতিয়া তাৰমানে হতে ভালৰে ৰেসপন্স কৰিব পাৰিছে educational psychology is a systematic study of educational growth কোনে কৈছিলে so educational psychology হৈছে এটা educational growth or systematic study তো কৈছিলে J.M. Stephene কৈছিলে where kindergarten schools first established answer is Germany first established হৈছিলে our children cannot distinguish between ant and tan started and stared which could be the condition so jeta mane letter bilakot okoman problem thakibo and aru tan ekeke dekhibo started and stared eke word boli bhabibo to identify koribo noare distinguish koribo noare etuk dyslexia boli koa hoy that knowledge is given and absolute is not accepted by constructivism so the knowledge which is given already and absolute to constructivism ki kora noy accept kora noy knowledge should be constructed during the phase of learning group works in developing Group work, strong intra-group competition, individual sense of achievement, collaboration and problem solving skills এইবিলাক develop কৰে group work কৰিলে okay competition হয় group বিলাকৰ মাজত আৰু achievement individually নিজকে কিমানখিনি achieve কৰিছে sense কৰিব পাৰে collaborate কৰিব পাৰে বেলেগৰ সৈতে problem solving skills বিলাক আহি যায় then the purpose of remedial teaching or purpose কি হয় teach again the language items not properly learned so remedial teaching or মানে এটোৱে হৈছে যে যিখিনি বুজি নাপায় সেইখিনি আকৌ যেতিয়া বুজাই দিব এক্সট্ৰা ক্লাস কৰি বেলে এটো remedial teaching লিওয় limitation of educational psychology limitation হৈছে problem of individual differenceৰ মাজত problem of individual studenter মাজত যে difference আছে হেতু problem solve কৰা হৈছে মানে আপোনাৰ limitation of educational psychology making student member of cleanliness community to motivate them for the same reflects social cultural concepts of motivation so cleanliness community তেওঁলোক member বনোৱা হেতু তেওঁলোক মানে socially or culturally আমি motivate কৰিছো to make the society clean to make the surroundings clean etc inclusive education refers to a school education system that includes children regardless of physical intellectual social linguistic or other differently able conditions so je kono condition or pra ahiba pare either they can be physically intellectually socially linguistically they can be backward or upward so tate inclusive education to include hoi thake students are naturally motivated to explore novelty so novelty means new notun bostu explore koribor kane student bilak motivate hoy naturally motivate hoy develop the major frustration that children with hearing loss face in the classroom is so মানে শ্ৰৱণ শক্তি কম থকা মানে লৰা ছোৱালী সকলে কিনিক ফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰেচনত ভুগে the inability to communicate or share information with others because they cannot hear they cannot know what the teacher is explaining them properly and they are not able to communicate with their friends that's the problem continuous and comprehensive evaluation যেটো CCE বুলি কোৱা হয় ইহৰ কাৰণে essential for understanding how learning can be observed recorded and improved upon okay CCE ekane continuously mane ki koriba pare continuous and comprehensive evaluation kora hoy yate observe record and improve koriba para hoy etu uporat to be an effective teacher it is important to be in touch with each and every child so protijon studentor hoite touch থাকিব লাগিব effective teacher hobo lagibe students of 5th grade with visual deficiency should be so 5th grade or jodi eta lorar visual deficiency ase dekhibole bhaldore nuare treated normally in the classroom and provide strong support through audio CDs so telo audio CDs or joriote hikabor jotno koriba lage aru eya apnar private schools bilakot to hobo dibo pare facilities but it's not possible in government schools all government schools karon yat government school bilakot like facility nai aru hitu facility provide koriba kane sarkari kisum byabostha koribo lage following is influenced by maximum utilization of senses by students learning product and process creativity includes the ability to do divergent thinking into to already koise je divergent thinking jetia koriba paribo jikun eta problem or then it involves creativity in their mind then dash children have ability to absorb abstract concept so gifted children so jibila gifted children ase teoluke tan concept bilako absorb koribo pare the dominant element of emotion is feeling to ase sabse beshi dominant element hoy emotional according to Spearman 1904 the ability to reason and solve problem is known as G factor okay Spearman e disile G factor theory etu apunar reason koriba para aru problem to solve koriba para etu hoise G factor which of the following level of measurement is the best that is ratio which one of the following is not a part of Piaget's concrete operational stage except lack of conservation inclusive education mane hoise meeting individual differences in general classroom so general classroom thakibo aru tat kono individual difference kora nohoy so every etu difference to nohua kora hoise inclusive education method for identifying gifted children kenake ami identify koribo paru observation intelligence and personality test or joriote dyslexia mane hoise reading disorder the basis for children centered education hoise apunar jikhon amar right to children for free and compulsory education 2009 ase etute child centered education or kotha koa hoise okay not teacher centered child centered hobo lagibo a teacher has to be resourceful resourceful, it means he should have adequate knowledge to be able to solve problems of his students. So teacher to bahut kini knowledge thakibo lagibo to solve the problems of the students. How can a teacher act as an agent of social change? So social change or agent hisabe kenedore kaam koribo pare? Teacher can convey new ideas, beliefs of the outside world to the world of the child. To titia bahut kini teoloke new নতুন কথা শিকিব পাৰে, social change আনিব পাৰে. The discourse of the child development involves around identifying the dash changing in over child over time, behavioral changes in child over time. There will be no conditioning according to Pavlov if. So Pavlovৰ মতে conditioning নাই যদি if UCB মানে আপোনাৰ unconditioned stimulus precedes conditioned stimulus, UCB follows here. So unconditioned stimulus যেতিয়া conditioned stimulus কি কৰিব follow কৰিব, there will be no conditioning according to Pavlov. It is difficult for teachers to assess pupils' readiness for a learning task. Because all the elements of readiness do not mature at the same time. So learning যিকোনো এটা বস্তু প্ৰতি তেওঁলোকৰ কিমানখিনি ৰেডিনেছ আছে মানে ইচ্ছুকতা আছে তো এসেছ কৰাটো ডিফিকাল্ট হয় টিচাৰৰ কাৰণে, কাৰণ এটা সময়তে এইটো তেওঁলোকৰ প্ৰত্যেকটো বস্তুৰে ৰেডিনেছ টু লাৰ্ণ টু এটা সময়তে দেখিবলৈ পোৱা নাযায়, মেচিউৰ নহয়. The major responsibility of a teacher is to provide them opportunities as per the different learning styles of students. Okay, opportunity দিব লাগিব তেওঁলোকৰ different learning style লৰ জৰিয়তে. A student who has the readiness level of students, a teacher has to enhance the readiness level of students, which will be the best way to do so by organizing a creational activity in classroom related to particular topic. So particular topic এটা যেতিয়া কিছুমান ক্ৰিয়েটিভ কাম যে কৰিব দিব তেওঁলোকক বা তেওঁলোকক একদম ভালদৰে ইনভলভ কৰাব, কিছুমান ডেমো কিছুমান মানে আপোনাৰ পৰীক্ষা এক্সপেৰিমেণ্টৰ জৰিয়তে হওক বা বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ লাইভলি যদি এটা ক্লাছ কৰিব পাৰে তেতিয়া সেইটো তেওঁলোকৰ ৰেডিনেছ লেভেলটো বাঢ়ি যায়, তেওঁলোকে শিকিব খুজি বহুতখিনি কথা. E.L. Thorndike learning theory provides. So Thorndike learning theory কি provide কৰে? Interest in work, interest in improvement of work, interest in improvement of work. So এটাই হয়. So learning theory এইটো interest in work and interest in improvement of work. So E.L. Thorndike learning theory এইটো provide কৰে. Constructivism কি হৰ ওপৰত emphasis কৰে? Role of the learner in constructing his knowledge about the world. So learner গোটেই পৃথিৱীখনৰ বিষয়ে যেতিয়া knowledge construct কৰে নিজৰ তাত, সেইটোৱে হৈছে লাৰ্নাৰৰ ৰোলটো, সেইটোকে constructivism বুলি কোৱা হয়. Learning includes acquisition and retention both. কোনে কৈছে? So learning ত আপোনাৰ acquisition লাগিব and retention লাগিব, কোনে কৈছে? স্কিনাৰে কৈছিলে. The next question, the academic performance of students can be improved if parents are encouraged to supervise the work of their ward. So নিজৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালী পঢ়া শুনা যেতিয়া supervise কৰিব তেতিয়া academic performance automatically improve হয়. Students in a class are asked to assemble various artifacts of their work in a notebook to demonstrate what they can do for their society. What kind of activity is this? So তেওঁলোকৰ নোটবুকত আমি যদি ষ্টুডেণ্ট বিলাকক যদি বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ আমি কি কৰিব পাৰো, লিখাব পাৰো বস্তু, আৰু সোসাইটিৰ প্ৰতি তেওঁলোকে কি কৰিব বিচাৰে, এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিছুমান আমি এছেছমেণ্ট কৰো. So that is called portfolio assessment. If a work has to be done not by own volition but with the will of another, then what will be the position of motivation? Negative state. So নিজৰ ইচ্ছা মতে নহয়, বেলেগৰ মানে ঠেলা হেঁচা যেতিয়া কিবা এটা কাম কৰিব, এইটো নিগেটিভ আপোনাৰ মোটিভেশ্যন বুলি কোৱা হয়. According to NCA 2005, errors are important. কিয়? কাৰণ এৰৰ যেতিয়া কৰিব ল'ৰা ছোৱালী তেওঁলোকক ইনচাইট প্ৰভাইড কৰে, থিংকিং আৰু আইডেণ্টিফাইং সলিউশ্যনত হেল্প কৰে বহুতখিনি. Which of the following is an innovative source of teaching, and that is internet. Internet এটা বহুত innovative source of teaching হয়, ইউজ কৰিব লাগে as a teacher. According to Bloom's taxonomy, what are the objectives of education? So Bloom's taxonomy মতে educational objective হৈছে analysis, evaluation, application, concepts, process, procedures, principles. Okay, analysis, evaluation, application, AEA, concept, process, procedures, principles. AEA, C মাজত থাকিল C টো আৰু তলত তিনিটা P, এইটো মনত ৰাখিব. AEA, মাজত C আৰু তিনি তলত তিনিটা P আৰু প্ৰথমটো হৈছে আপোনাৰ এনালাইজ কৰা তাৰপিছত এইটো আপুনি কি কৰিব ইভালুৱেট কৰিব এপ্লাই কৰিব কনসেপ্ট ডেভেলপ কৰিব লাগিব প্ৰসেস তাৰপিছত প্ৰচিডিউৰ আৰু প্ৰিন্সিপলস ডেভেলপ so এইখিনি মনত ৰাখিব ট্ৰাই কৰিব students who ask question will be encouraged to continue asking questions so যিবিলাকে প্ৰশ্ন কৰে তেওঁলোকক আকৌ এনকাৰেজ কৰিব লাগে প্ৰশ্ন কৰিব লাগে a student come late to your class you will try to know the reason kiyo late ahise etu reason to apuni janibo chesta koribo if some students are not in a mood to study in the class apuni ki koribo tell them some interesting things related to their interest on or your own subjects so study jodi mood na thake dite hole okman interesting banabor chesta koribo lagibo class 2 which cognitive verb is used to analyze the information given and that is differentiate itu verb use kora hoy the principles used involved in lesson planning is so the principles involved in lesson planning is rigidity of planning Niyati, a Hindi teacher, observed that her students show differences in learning. What she teaches, Niyati should use a variety of experience in her teaching to improve learning. So, variety of experience use koribo lagibo, learning use koribo to improve koribo. Teaching becomes effective provided learner-centered instruction and interactive method. So, learner but children-centered instruction hobo lagibo aru interactive hobo lagibo etu effective teaching hai. Giftedness is due to giftedness genetic makeup or environmental motivation. So, already goes as heredity or environment duitai apunar giftedness or prabhav pelai gifted students will realize their potential when they learn with other students beleg students hoile jeta teloke poriba teta teloke realize koribo nijor potential to telokotke bahut khini besi then difficulty in learning to read spell and calculate normal intelligence and good adaptive functions are the characteristics of the learning disabled child so learning disabled child ebilak thaka difficulty in reading spelling calculating ebilak at the stage of infancy and individuals emotions are egocentric so infancy stage jeta thake mane bailya avasthat lora swali ekdom egocentric hoy selfish hoy intense frequent totally unstable hoi thaka devil characteristics of Dalton education method so Dalton education method eta bahut important hoy ahiba pare bila so tare characteristics hoise nature of education should be based on individual differences okay individual differences or majot ki hobo lage education differ hobo lage nature of education hobo lage that emphasis on learning through self experiences joriote learn koribo lage and forced to do certain work in a given time the given time period of telok kisman kaam koribole force korabo lage etu Dalton education method or characteristics learned helplessness is a situation where in students feel that they are going to fail because of repeated failures in past he too is a learned helplessness so develop helplessness feel correct old knowledge which has no effect on learning new skills or knowledge is referred to zero transfer so notun knowledge or joriote old knowledge jodi atolo notun kotha hikibolai kono motivation nidiye tite etu zero transfer of knowledge bili koha a guardian never comes to see you in school you will go to meet him yourself okay it's important a teacher in your school is not interested in teaching profession how shall you help in develop interest in teaching helping him to find the reasons for his lack of interest kihor kane teo interest poa nai to hetu apuni reason to find koribo help koribo pare because the following is the nature of educational psychology positive science educational psychology is a positive science teaching becomes more effective provided students are given autonomy and control to work on their own so telokok mane sadinota dibo lagibo tite telok bahut beshi effective hoy teaching to hardware approach is based on which principles hardware approach is based on engineering principles parents should play a dash role in the process of young children proactive role what is important while writing on blackboard clarity in writing so jeti apuni clearly likhibo hetu bahut important hoy so that they can see and understand what you are writing in the blackboard for the students of class 3 which will be the best way for teaching creational activities so creativity joriote dalo hikabo lagibo after preparing a test if a teacher repeatedly administers it on the children of same age group in order to find out consistency of the test scores he is looking for the test same age group in order to find out the consistency of test scores he is looking for the test reliability okay so যেতিয়া আপুনি এটা টেষ্ট এটা প্ৰিপেয়াৰ কৰিব তেতিয়া কি কৰিব a teacher repeatedly administers it on the children of same age group in order to find out the consistency of test scores তেওঁলোকে কিমানখিনি স্কোৰ পাইছে same age groupৰ মাজত যেতিয়া repeatedly তেওঁ কি কৰিব সেই consistency-টো চাব test score-টো হেতু কি বুলি কোৱা হয় reliability is looking for the test reliability. You are teaching মানে আপুনি ধৰক এটা পেপাৰে same age groupৰ মাজত আপুনি repeatedly কি কৰিছে এবাৰ লৈছে same age groupক আকৌ next year same age groupক হেইটো পেপাৰ দিছে তেতিয়া আপুনি গম পাব যে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ পেপাৰটো কি reliable হয় for testing the students. You are teaching in class and students ask a question unrelated to the topic. Apuni ki koribo answer the question after the class or bisor answer koribo. Thinking is a psychomotor activity, yes or no? No. Cricket player develops the skill of bowling but it does not affect his skill of batting. It is known as zero transfer of learning. So if he knows bowling and it doesn't help in his skill, it doesn't help him in the skill of batting, that means it is zero transfer of training. Okay. In your view, teaching is an art and a skill. Best education program is one which is according to the ability of the child, need of the child, interest of the child. So it is the best education program. Then scholastic and co-scholastic domains should be assessed by formative and summative assessment. Scholastic and curriculum by academics will require scholastic and co-scholastic domains. Formative and summative assessment assess koribo lage. And education is referred as a child-centered when preferences to child's needs, interests, and aptitudes are given to child-centered education will require. If a learner fails to achieve a certain goal in classroom, then it shows failure of school. Which method has a process of reasoning from general to specific? So then general to specific what call it to deductive method will require. A good school is one which good school will which could understand social stratification of child and makes the class environment progressive and inspired. Okay, so lora swali social status to চিনি পায় বুজি পায় তেওঁলোকক জেনাৰেলাইজ কৰিব চেষ্টা কৰে আৰু তেওঁলোকৰ environment to progressive and inspiring কৰিব চেষ্টা কৰে. The foremost feature of knowledge acquisition mechanism is selectivity. According to Piaget, which among the following is the stage where the behavior of child determined by the reflexes? Sensory motor stages. On the basis of which principle of learning can feelings of fear, love, and hatred can be easily centered in a child? Which classical contract theory principle or joriote ebila general hoy boli classical contract theory principle mote on the basis of a classical contract theory gompa goise. Then which term describes the use of either hand to write, swing a bat, or catch a ball? So ei tuk term to koa hoy mane আমি কোনখন হাতেৰে লিখিম বা আমি কোন বলটো ধৰি ক্যাচ কৰিম বেটখন কেনেকৈ আমি ধৰিম এইবিলাক কোনটো টাৰ্মে ডেসক্ৰাইব কৰিছে এমবি ডেক্সট্ৰাছ বুলি কোৱা হয়. Science and art exhibition, music and dance shows, and bringing out school magazines are meant to provide a creative channel for learners সকলো creative channel provide কৰে. If you get opportunity to teach a visually challenged student along with normal students, what type of treatment would you like to give him or her in the class? So visually challenged student jodi apuni pai a normal student tor majot apuni ki koribo arrange a seat in the front row and to teach at a pace convenient to him. So front row seat arrange kori teo conveniently hikabor chesta koribo. The biggest hindrance for a teacher to work in an uneducated village is lack of motivation to solve problems. So problem solve korar motivation to teo na thake uneducated village honot. At the upper primary stage there is a need of educational career and personal guidance. For an inclusive classroom, what kind of preparation is not necessary for teachers? Low patience level. So teacher patience level to high and low patience level is not required. What is the sense of belonging to a group in a class? Sense of belonging, all students are considered members of the class. It was a sense of belonging to the class. For change in behavior of students, most effective way is regular award দিব লাগিব তেওঁলোকক award in the manner of apuni bhalke khobo pare ba kitaba kiba pen dibo pare chocolate na kadiba pare, so that all these are something that motivates them to do good work. If a child is delicate and having poor health in infancy, then his physical development will be influenced in a negative way. So health problem thakile to negative way telo physical development hobo pare. What is desirable for good learning habits in students? From early age, learning should be started. Early age telo learning start koribo lage. Determination and initiation are required. Learner practice and replications are enough for learners. So learning koribo lage, tar bisot determine hobo lagibo aru practice koribo lagibo aru hebilak বহুত বাৰে বাৰে কৰি থাকিলে তেওঁলোক বহুতখিনি good habits, learning habit develop হ'ব. Which external factor affects the interest of students in classroom? That is culture and arts. When a child moves away from concrete events into more natural and symbolic situation, it is called abstraction. Okay, symbolic and natural situation and call it abstraction. A child from disorganized home will experience the greatest difficulty with independent study. So যেতিয়া home situation is disorganized, so they will have difficulty in independent study কৰিব নোৱাৰিব. High dropout rates in primary classes can be attributed to lack of proper teacher training. So lack of proper teacher training ot আপোনাৰ কি হয়, high dropout rate হয় primary class ot কাৰণ teacher properly কি কৰিব নোৱাৰে, শিকাব নোৱাৰে. A student works difficult to clear an entrance test for admission into medical college. The student is said to be motivated intrinsically. Okay, so jodi teo difficulty paise clear koriba kane to teo bhitoror pora mane monor bhitoror pora teo motivation to ahibo lagibo to attempt and clear the test. A child first learns moving his hand and then his fingers and then hand and fingers together. Which principle of growth and development is represented? That is principle of integration. Okay, first hand, then fingers, then both hand and finger. So it is called principle of integration. A good classroom teacher nurtures learners' natural curiosity, encourages learners to engage in dialogue, involves learners in real world situations. So তেওঁলোকৰ curiosity to আমি nurture কৰিব লাগিব, তাৰপিছত encourage কৰিব লাগিব আৰু real world situation হৈতে তেওঁলোকক involve কৰাব লাগিব. It is difficult for teachers to assess pupils' readiness for a learning task because all the elements of readiness do not mature at the same time. Already to kora hoise. And the major responsibility of a teacher is to provide teaming opportunities as per different learning styles of students. A teacher has to enhance the readiness level of the students, which will be the best way. So creational activity koribo lagibo particular topic or oporot. So তেওঁলোকৰ reading or learning or ক্ষেত্ৰত তেওঁলোকৰ যেটো উচ্চকতাটো বেছি হ'ব. Every learner is unique means that no two learner are alike in their abilities, interests and talents. So every learner is unique. Okay, everyone is different from each other. Summative evaluation ki hoy, find out how well a student has performed over time at a variety of tasks. So etu called summative assessment jitu amar yearly system ot kora hoy. Motivated child doesn't show isolated from the group. So motivated hoy, so they are part of the group, তেওঁলোক isolate নহয় এটা গ্ৰুপৰ পৰা অকলশৰীয়া হৈ নাযায়. That involves an interest in the learning task itself and also satisfaction being gained from task. Intrinsic motivation. Okay, যেটো আভ্যন্তৰীণভাৱে যেটো motivate আহে হেইটো. A guardian never comes to, so you will go to meet him yourself. Okay, then children are very hateful or indifferent to opposite sex at the age of 11 to 12 years. So 11 পৰা 12 বছৰৰ ভিতৰত তেওঁলোক বহুত বেছি hateful or opposite sexৰ প্ৰতি তেওঁলোকৰ কি হয় তেওঁলোকৰ মানে hatefulness to বেছি থাকিব পাৰে, indifferent হ'ব পাৰে. তো এটো মানে 11 to 12 years ৰ ভিতৰত হয়. Constructivism কি হয়, child centered education. Attitude is emotionalized tendency organized through experience to react positively or negatively towards a psychological object. So attitude hoise apunar eta tendency, emotionalized tendency hoy, organized through experience jote apunar joriote experience joriote organized to react positively. Apuni eta psychological object eta apuni positively react koribo or negatively hetu hobo apunar hetuke attitude buli koa hoy. In late childhood period, children understand the conversion of mass, number and area. Okay, তেওঁলোকে জানে যে বৃহৎ সংখ্যাটো কি হয়, number হয়, area কি হয়, বিলাক তেওঁলোকে late childhood period understand কৰে the discourse of child development revolves around identifying the dash changes in the child over time behavioral changes over the time how can a teacher act as an agent of social change as an agent of social change তেওঁলোকে কি কৰিব পাৰে idea convey কৰিব পাৰে beliefs of the outside world to the world of the child so এইবিলাক আমি provide কৰিব পাৰো a teacher has to be resourceful মানে he should have adequate knowledge to be able to solve the problems of his students so he should be resourceful a teacher can motivate students by giving prizes okay character is developed by willpower conduct and behavior and morality so character এনেকে আমি develop কৰিব পাৰো willpower ইচ্ছা শক্তি conduct কিছুমান বিভিন্ন কৰ্ম কৰিব দিব লাগিব তেওঁলোকৰ behavior develop কৰিব লাগিব morality develop কৰিব লাগিব the character develop হয় for nurturing creativity a teacher should keep students task focus ৰাখিব লাগিব তেওঁলোকৰ creativity to nurture koribo kane an alternate form is a part of reliability and reliability is a part of designing assessment multilingual character of Indian society should be seen as a resource of enrichment of school life okay so that they learn multiple language so in Indian society so it will be enrichment of a resource boli ami kobo paru schools will while dealing with poverty strike and children must so jita dukhia doridra himarekhar tolor lora choli hoite deal koribo uno school provide students appropriate training to develop skills to strengthen their self esteem nijoke keneke not powerful nijoke keneke strong banabo lage tar upor talogo appropriate skill develop korabo lagibo a teacher in a multicultural classroom would ensure that the assessment considers socio-cultural context of her students so যদি multiple cultural background students আছে আপনি কোনো conflict আনিব নোৱাৰিব regarding the different socio-cultural background of the students the stages of cognitive development according to Piaget is known as a pre-conceptual period is related to pre-operational stage two main objectives of education to install subject knowledge in the children and to cause mental development of the children so subject over knowledge and mentally develop kora it is educational main objective to that if the quotient of a student is 100 it means that mental age of the students is same as the chronological age later childhood category 11 to 18 years into late childhood boli koa hoy okay what is thinking use of symbols into thinking hoy for what category of subjects are the detour problems used adult category kane detour problem use kora indirect method of tension reduction it is a sublimation the childhood stage is 10 to 12 years on the desirable behavior of students teachers should use the necessary strategy of psychology important characteristics of creativity is divergent multi-grade teaching means one teacher manages more than one class at a time flexible sitting arrangement interaction between and within grades hetu is a multi-grade bibhinno class or maje jite interaction koriba eta samoyote that is called multi-grade teaching educational tool is necessary why the students get stagnant knowledge with direct relation or context so education tool is very very important problem related to teaching learning is problem related subject matter sign of motivated learning or sign is a questioning by students part of constructivist learning situation is cognitive apprenticeship errors made by students in class above 5 must be considered as indicators of their learning steps students observe fashion show and try to imitate models this kind of imitation can be called social learning the speed of teacher's speech may interfere with students comprehension of the task if it is too fast or too slow what a teacher should do not to avoid this so teacher গৰাকী যদি বহুত বেছি স্লো হয় বা বহুত বেছি ফাস্ট হয় তেতিয়া তেওঁলোকে ষ্টুডেন্টৰ যেটো comprehension হেইটোৰ মাজত তেওঁলোকে এটা গ্যাপ আহি যায় সো টিচাৰে এই ক্ষেত্ৰত কি কৰিব লাগিব have pauses between major segments of information so pause কৰিব লাগিব অকমান flow to correct হ'ব লাগিব principles of human development are human developmental principles are continuity sequentiality general to specific gifted students need support not ordinarily provided by the school method for identifying gifted children is observation intelligence test personality test observation intelligence test and personality test identify koribo pari manifestation of emotional disturbance are delinquency bullying nature truancy emotional disturbance So কিছুমান manifestation. A backward child is one who the middle 10 to 11 year of his school career is unable to do work of the class below that which is normal for his age. Who said this? Squirrel আপোনাৰ Cyril bird হ'ব. Okay, backward children বুলি কোৱা হয় যেতিয়া তেওঁলোকে মানে কি কৰিব নোৱাৰে নৰ্মেল এজৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালী যিখিনি কৰিব পাৰে সেইখিনি যে নোৱাৰে সেইটো আপোনাৰ backward child বুলি কোৱা হয়. Thus have least effect of learning, that is gender difference has lived if learning of both com effect gender difference. In most schools, like the primary consideration for homogeneous grouping is based on ability levels. Okay, ability levels of homogeneous group kisuman kora hoy. The child from disorganized home, independent study koribo nware, multilingual character of Indian society to resource for enrichment of school life. If a student asks a wrong question, then what will be you will indicate the mistake by giving example di bela bujai diba lagibo. What kind of support can a school provide to address the individual difference in students? Follow a child centered curriculum and provide multiple learning opportunities to students. So ekini provide koribo lagibo. Individual differences can be attributed to complex interplay between the hereditary factors and genetic makeup and environment. A teacher can effectively respond to the needs of the child from disadvantaged sections by reflecting on the school system and herself about various ways in which biases and stereotypes surface. A teacher has to be resourceful, adequate knowledge regarding any topic. Who is considered as a gifted learner? Exceptionally good learner, gifted learner. Part of Piaget's concrete operational stage is inductive reasoning, spatial thinking, lack of conservation. Operational concrete operational stage or part. Defense mechanism helps us a lot in dealing with stress. Differentiated instruction is using a variety of groupings to meet students' needs. That is called differentiated instruction. Autism include inability to relate to others. Autism that is called autism. Learning is a dash behavior for better or worse. Change or in behavior. Learning is a behavior change, either for better or for worse. This is the ability to use one's mental abilities to coordinate one's own bodily movements. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence. It is the ability to use one's mental abilities to coordinate one's own bodily movement. Bodily movement or mental abilities connect coordinate koriba paribo heto bodily kinesthetic intelligence boli koa hoy. Why students are allowed to play games to develop their physical development and cooperation between them. Adequate educational approach for gifted children is accelerated promotion, enriched curriculum, provision for special classes. So adequate educational approach. The early identification of special children is important to prevent secondary disabilities. A teacher can effectively respond to the needs of the child from disadvantaged sections of society by adapting her pedagogy to the needs of every child in the classroom. So disadvantaged lora swali ko telok hikaba lagibo aru teloge each and every child pedagogical behavior khini janibo lagibo and they can help them to mitigate the differences. Successful inclusion requires segregation. When a child moves away from concrete events into more natural and symbolic situation, it will abstraction. All are emotional symptoms of maladjusted person except cooperative and loving. So, emotional maladjusted person or cooperative and loving no hoy develop. Adjust koribo nware. What is desirable for good learning habits in students? From an early age of learning should be started. Determination and initiation are required. Practice and replications. What type of Keller scheme customized instruction and sports method teaching comes under this method? Student control instruction. Pre-childhood speciality group, pre-group age, immediate group age, questioning age. Pre-childhood specialty. Child development is a field that studies the gradual evolution of a child in terms of cognitive, social and other capabilities. So, develop child development. If a young woman or a man leaves his or her house for joining military, this instance shows recoalization because it demands discarding former behavior patterns and reflexes, accepting new ones. নতুন এটা পৰিবেশ আকোৱালি লোৱা নিজৰ লাইফৰ ট্ৰানজিশন পিৰিয়ডত হেতুৱে হৈছে So which is important to keep mental health of students. It was a co-curricular activity থাকিব লাগিব তেওঁলোকক freedom of expression দিব লাগিব attention দিব লাগিব interest দিব লাগিব বিলাকে তেওঁলোক mental health টো ঠিক ৰাখে thinking is essentially a cognitive activity. Students learn in variety of ways through experiment, discussion, asking questions, doing activities and through reflection. A student's development depends on heredity and environment. Emotions generate when feelings are condensed. কোনে কৈছিলে ভ্যালেন্টিনে কৈছিলে What do you mean by social perception? It is the function of individual social psychological organization. The age period of second stage of Piaget's cognitive development is 2 to 7 years. Accepting students to reproduce knowledge in the same way as it is received into it is problematic because individuals interpret experiences and do not produce knowledge as it is received. Learning is influenced by learners' emotions. Which state of Piaget's theory of cognitive development is characterized by abstract logic and potential for mature moral reasoning, or it is a formal operational. Social development মানে হৈছে আপোনাৰ refinement of behavior in adverse situation, acceptable behavior of a person. At the age of dash, the visual and auditory sense development is almost complete at the age of 6 to 7. Also, altruism is a social value. Altruism is a social value. Best meaning of socialization হৈছে আপোনাৰ and social environment সৈতে নিজকে adapt কৰা. Which strategy would you choose to involve your students আৰু এইটো হৈছে cooperative learning. Society determines the roles of male and female মানে হৈছে gender as a social construct. What is socialization? Acquiring values, beliefs and expectations of the society. Erickson's theory is an 8-stage theory of development. School is an institution or a socialization where school children occupy the central position. When does the process of socialization of the child begin? From their birth, socialization process begins. Okay, so these are some 250 questions that we discussed today, and another 250 already I discussed courses today. Please check kori lobo, and I hope this 2 class will help you out in building up a base of pedagogy, and this will help you out in preparing for any kind of teaching related exams, either it may be ASSAM TET, CTET, TET, any TET exam, it will help you out. Okay, so if you like my session, these 2 classes, then please comment below in the comment section. আৰু যদি আপোনালোকে ভাল পাইছে please share কৰি দিব, notification bell to press কৰি দিবলৈ নাপাহৰিব, and thanks for watching. আৰু আপোনালোকে comment section জনাব পাৰে আপোনালোকৰ আৰু কি টপিকৰ ওপৰত more and more videos লাগে. Thank you.